All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Friday afternoon. God bless everybody in the name of Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah. I pray you and your family are very blessed in many ways, as we are potentially, guys, unless something drastic happens, about to close the most bearish October for Bitcoin since 2018. And of course, this chart would not be complete without a picture of myself absolutely in utter turmoil, haven't cut my hair in months, drinking coffee from my Market Cipher turkey pencil neck mug with the green screen in the back, with the charts in the front, looking utterly tired, haven't slept in months, haven't slept in years, because you know, guys, a few weeks in crypto time is a few years in regular time. It's crazy how it works like that, right? Man, oh man. We got to give a major shout to everybody in the chat as usual, guys. If we can just get 1,000 likes in the first half hour, we'll be giving away $1,000, so make sure to like. Shout out to Estevanza8628. This is a beautiful afternoon. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to HFG. What do I think about MEXC rumors? There's been MEXC rumors since 2023, and literally I've heard the worst things about MEXC. I've never had a problem with it. Here's what I need to say about all exchanges, DEXs, and SEXs in general. Do your research, and just don't put money on an exchange, guys, that you're not prepared to potentially lose. Withdraw your profits. Don't trust any exchange, all right? I mean, look, if FTX can be a scam and they're on Forbes magazine, official United States company, and that can be a scam, imagine some random Asian exchange that lets you trade with 500x leverage without even asking your dang name. Could that be a scam? Could it be a scam? It could, all right? So be responsible out there, guys. Look, we are assuming risk when we are entering into these crypto markets. We got into crypto because we don't like traditional finance. We want a little bit of risk, baby. All right, we don't want the HOA telling us we can't have a dang rooster. We want to have a little risk. We don't want the dang township coming telling us we can't build that attic on our house because we might get hurt. Look, we're willing to take on that risk. So do your own research. Don't be stupid. Don't put your whole dang portfolio on some stupid exchange. Withdraw your profits. Make sure you're using responsible leverage so you can keep not all your money on the exchange, but still trade. And if you feel that an exchange is in danger of being a scam or a rug pull, take your money off the exchange. All right, it just, no matter what, across the board, this is the case. All right, don't trust anybody. This is crypto. All right. There's rumors about lots of exchanges. Currently, MEXC is under fire. I haven't really been looking into it, but I've heard the rumblings. Here's the deal. If you don't trust MEXC, take your money off right now and don't trade on MEXC. All right? That's the deal. Major shout out to Inc4TW. Shout out to the Null Paradox. That guy needs to rest. Shout out to Snicker Toasted 2212. Don't forget to write that wig off as a business expense. For sure. Shout out to Alex O. He says, LFG, God bless you. Jay, God bless you. Alex, man, thank you so much for being here. And shout out to Hussein Bashir. What's going on, bro? May the Lord bless you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord bless Dog World. And may the Lord bless N Hung 201. Am I still keeping my short? Yeah, of course. Guys, of course I'm still in the short trade, all right? Still in the short trade from the exact top, from the setup given in advance in the Casper crew and given in real time. And I'm still in the long, taken in real time in the Casper crew. The same long I was in yesterday, guys. You saw me in it yesterday. You saw me in it yesterday in the red, all right, when we were down here yesterday, all right? Still in the long trade. Nothing's really changed for me. Nothing has really changed as far as my Bitcoin positions. I'm still in that long that I've been in since 2 weeks ago. I'm still in the short trade from the exact top setup given in advance in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. Let everybody know when I took it. Still in the hedge short over on WEEX that I let everybody know was a good place to take on Monday when we were looking at hedging our long from the low when we came up to the top of the local range. All right. Now, this is potentially going to be, guys, one of the worst Octobers in Bitcoin history. Bitcoin set for the worst October since 2018. Now, if you guys remember anything about October 2018, this was the heat of a bear market. We go back to November 2018. This was in the heat of a bear market. This was like way after the all-time high, like a year after the all-time high at $20,000. And let's see, where was that? October of 2018 was right here. No, that was 2019. I'm sorry. It's not on the Bybit chart. We have to go back in time. We have to go to Coinbase and take a look at Coinbase and see where was October 2018. It was right here, guys. October 2018 was right here. Now, it's the worst October we've had since 2018. Look what happened in November 2018, all right? We don't even want to think about that. We don't even want to talk about that, but November 2018 ended with a 47% drop, okay? Not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying this is the worst October we've had since 2018. You can see we are currently consolidating within two very important levels here. The $107,000 level, the bottom of this very important range, and then around $125,000 at the top of this very important range. Now, to add insult to injury, to put salt in the wounds, today 16 billion options are going to expire. Now, what does that mean? Why is this even relevant if options are going to be expiring? Well, the reason, guys, is because basically it probably will trigger some short-term volatility because it forces big money to hedge their positions. That's basically what it means. All right, when these expire, it means the contracts reach maturity, and traders who were long, right, or short, they have to basically close out of their positions, period, right? So if most of the options were people betting that the price was going to go up, and price closes below where they thought it was going to go, those options become worthless, and then we can expect basically selling pressure, right? The people that were betting on the price going up, putting big money on the line for saying the price is going to go up, those contracts are now done, which means all that big money that made people bullish, gone. This causes selling pressure, all right? And vice versa, if people were bearish, all right, well, that can cause buying pressure. So essentially, this is going to cause some volatility. And I honestly, I don't know. We can't really know if there were bullish or bearish bets here. But I have a feeling that people were bullish on October. And either way, this could cause some volatility leading into the weekend. And not only that, it's also the last day of the month. Very interesting. It is the last day of the month. However, there are some people, there are mixed opinions about what people think are going to be happening. All right. Essentially, Bitcoin, we have lost our October streak. All right. After 6 straight years of October gains, Bitcoin is set to break the streak this year. And so October is often referred to as Uptober, us crypto people, because we go up only in October. So a lot of people are saying, well, this is bearish for November. There are some who are bullish. All right. We got some people on KCEX saying that there's no correlation between October and subsequent months. So perhaps this bearish October doesn't mean a dang thing. People are also saying that Q4 usually is super bullish and that November historically is a very bullish month. In fact, November is historically the best month for Bitcoin of the year, averaging 46% across 12 years going all the way back to 2013. This makes the period between October and December the best quarter for Bitcoin rallies, with an average of 70% gains, according to CoinGlass. So, the question is, what is this November going to hold? We have some very interesting on-chain analytics. Just to keep in the back of our minds, again, I am a technical trader. I do not trade according to news. I do not trade according to October jargon. I don't even trade according to on-chain analytics, but it is very interesting. Axel Adler Jr., you could follow him on Twitter. He's looking at some interesting on-chain analytics. Why is Bitcoin stuck here? He says one reason is that since the 1st of July, long-term holders have been selling their coins. All right, we're seeing a lot of wallets that have been holding Bitcoin for a long time sell since the summertime. They've been taking profits, and rightfully so. We saw Bitcoin go from $15,000 to $125,000. Now look at what he says here, and this is actually quite an important point. All right, I mean, we've seen the total Bitcoin holdings go down from 15.5 million to 14.6 million. But even under this selling pressure, Bitcoin has hit new all-time highs twice. That actually, and this right here is not something we should ignore. The fact that we are seeing long-term holders selling Bitcoin for the past half year, essentially, and yet Bitcoin is still able to make new all-time highs twice. Current demand is absorbing the long-term holder supply. This is very interesting. Although big money long-term holders are selling Bitcoin, there's new demand coming in that's causing the Bitcoin price to go up. Now, is it far outweighing the selling? No. I mean, we can see that going back since July, every time we make new all-time high, it's just a little bit. But that is quite interesting to see that although people who have been in the game for a long time, and rightfully so, are taking profits. There's still a lot of new interest in Bitcoin coming in, enough to give us new all-time highs. All right? Very, very interesting. We could take a look at retail demand, which is also pretty weak. All right? So it's interesting. We have weak retail demand. We have long-term holders selling Bitcoin, and yet we are seeing Bitcoin make 2 new all-time highs. Well, there's money coming in from somewhere. Is this institutional money? Is this government money? It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. We are in a very volatile time right now for crypto. And as we all know, if the 4-year cycle is going to continue, well, we are in for a very significant pullback right around here. All right, we're in for a very significant pullback right around here. In fact, if the 4-year cycle is going to continue as it has been historically, the top is generally in right now. In fact, if we go to Coinbase, we can see on the 2-month time frame that we are indeed about to confirm a bearish divergence on the 2-month. If we go to the all-time index, you can see, guys, bearish div marked the top in 2018. It marked the top in 2021. It's most likely going to mark the top in 2025, which means we are expecting to hit our bottom in about a year, which will be around the summer fall of 2026, which means right around here, if the 4-year cycle is still intact, right around, let's say, September 2026, that's when we really want to be buying Bitcoin. All right, if the 4-year cycle is intact. Now, could it not be intact? We went over yesterday a potential argument as to why the 4-year cycle might not be intact. I'd say the strongest argument right now is the fact that we are seeing ETFs with large inflows coming into Bitcoin via these ETFs and Ethereum. And also, the 4-year cycle, in a sense, has already been broken because the bear market rally usually gets a 50% pullback when it rejects from the Fibonacci 618. So typically, when we come up to the Fibonacci 618 level, from the top of the bull market to the bottom of the bear market, we typically get about a 50% correction. However, this time you can see we only got about a 20% correction, and then we made a new all-time high before the halving. All right, so what happened right here when the ETF launches? ETF launches, we get a pullback right on schedule, but the pullback is much less than expected, and then all-time high happens before the halving. So far, this cycle is different in the sense that what's usually much more bearish turned out to be much more bullish. So what does that mean right now? Well, if we're going to get a pullback right on schedule, Q4 2025, Q1 2026, that means maybe we don't get as deep of a pullback as usual. Maybe we get less of a pullback. And so the major area that I think we should all be aware of right now in the event of a pullback for Bitcoin, if we are indeed heading into a bear market, is going to have to be this. All right, quickly, we invert the scale on Bitcoin. All right, let's clear off all our drawings. If we were to invert this scale, we would say, you know what? Remember, this is Bitcoin upside down. All right, so this is upside down. Clearly, we're in a very powerful downtrend. Now, because this is upside down, it means we're in a very powerful uptrend, right? Because we're in a very powerful downtrend, looks like we're ready based on our 2-month bearish divergences to get a little bit of a retracement, right? Where would we expect price to go, right? If we were day traders, which most of us are, and we were looking for a short trade today, and this was the 5-minute chart, what would we say? We would say, well, you know what? Why don't we come up to the top of the local range that we have right here? Why don't we take the short liquidity and then drop the price to make a new low? That's what we would all say is the best trade for the, we would say this would be the best trade for the day, right? Coming in, making a plan, we would say, you know what? This is the trade that we would want to take here, right? And we'd shoot for a new low, right? So this is what we might be able to expect if we get a pullback right on schedule, which would be Bitcoin coming back down to test the $65,000 to $75,000 zone, and then shooting up towards $200,000 plus as we head into the next 4-year cycle, right? So we're talking, 2026 is the low, then 2027, 2028, 2029, we're looking at a $250,000 Bitcoin, give or take, right? Something like this. So this is just something to be aware of. Now, let's do some top-down analysis quick. Again, we understand on the monthly time frame for Bitcoin, what do we have? Well, 6 hours, guys. 6 hours until we confirm a bearish divergence on the 2-month. All right, last time we confirmed a bearish divergence on the 2-month, it was the top. Now, something I want to point out here, guys, is this. When I say that I believe the top is in, you also have to understand that when we're on the 2-month time frame, it doesn't mean that the exact high price is in yet. It means if we're going to be going based on, you know, high time frame stuff, the top is generally in. If you had sold everything on May 2021, when we confirmed that bear div, you sold the top. But price did come up $4,000 higher than the previous all-time high before the big drop, right? So we can't exclude the possibility of Bitcoin hitting $130,000 before a big drop. But we do have to say, if this 2-month bearish divergence confirms, there's like a 99% chance we're in for a very significant pullback within the next few months, okay? Then we come down to the monthly time frame. And again, we're seeing multiple drive of bearish divergence here, confirmed, okay? Not only are we seeing a bearish div from the last all-time high to our current top, but locally here, this last little squeeze up since March 2024, it seems that we're running out of steam here, right? We're confirming bear divs, bear divs, bear divs. The 2-week time frame also, look at this bearish divergence here. Money flow, momentum getting lower as the price is squeezing up just a little bit, okay? So these high time frames definitely have more bullish than bearish. I'm sorry, they definitely have more bearish than bullish signs here, right? Then we get down to our weekly time frame. This right here is, again, I've been using the weekly time frame upside down to show that things do look very bearish here, but we need to keep our eyes on what happens with this momentum wave currently on market cipher B, okay? If we start to print another green dot on the weekly, that could be our ticket to that one last push towards $130,000. We come down to our 5-day. It's not looking the best. All right, the 5-day was looking like she wanted to give us that momentum push. Now the yellow oscillator, this yellow line is flat, showing more downside potential. The 3-day had confirmed a bullish divergence, and we literally flip it right now into a bearish wave that has more downside potential. So all things considered here, guys, these high time frames do not look very bullish to me right now. They definitely look more bearish than bullish. And here's something else, you know, we had FOMC, we had the rate cut, but Jerome Powell seemed just hawkish enough to cause the market to react bearishly, right? He says we can't be certain if we're going to have a rate cut in December or not. That's not what you want to hear if you're looking for that last big all-time high push, okay? So let's go down now to our 4-hour time frame on Bitcoin and just see what's happening locally here. Again, guys, yesterday we came down to our level that must hold, all right? The level that must hold on Bitcoin is really, I'd say, was going to be this one right here, right around $107,000. The reason why this level must hold, guys, is because this is the historic support, all right? It's the high volume node from right over here. It's the support from right here. It's the support from right here. This is Coinbase, by the way. We took that low, and then we got to move up, and this is the back test of that, right? So it must hold. If we want a rotation back to the top of the range, 107,000 must hold. Now, you might be asking yourself, Jason, why are you still in that stupid long trade from the setup given in advance in the Casper Crew VIP Discord when you told the whole community that you took the long on Bitcoin last week? All right? This was from October 21st, 2025. Why am I still in the trade? Well, the reason I'm still in the trade, guys, is because the invalidation of the trade has not been hit yet. All right? We basically are looking to lose our 786, and really, if we take a look at the original setup here, we're looking to, so long as we don't, so long as we're not losing 105, the trade idea is still valid, right? As long as we're not losing 105, the trade idea is still valid. So we're basically, even taking out the liquidity down here, the idea is still valid for me. Right, the idea is still valid for me as long as we're not losing basically around 105. And so yes, the idea is still valid. I'm still trading this long idea. Am I super confident in it right now? No, I'm not super confident in it. But here's the thing about the way I trade. If I have a trading plan that I made in advance, right, I'm gonna stick to that plan, right? This is the plan. My plan is not wrong until my stop loss gets hit, right? If I close the trade early and then we come down a little bit lower, still within my zone for the bounce, and we do bounce, and I closed it then I will regret closing the open trade. I will not regret getting stopped out here because I had a valid reason to take this trade. And I already did hit a take profit one on it. And I already hedged against it with this short trade that I told everyone I was taking in the Jason Casper crew at jasoncaspertrading.com. Click the link to join the best dang trading community in the world where we trade Bitcoin and altcoins and all that kind of stuff. In fact, just today, I've been taking some altcoin trades, letting the community know that I've been taking altcoin trades. In fact, the one today that I think the best trade was MNT. MNT was a juicy one, guys, in the Casper crew. Man, look at this. Taking the long right here, and boom, baby, kaboom, bam, boom. Would you look at that? All right. Also, we took a little Zcash long in here too, which actually turned out all right as well. By the way, guys, we have Casper Crew games today. In the Casper Crew, we've got ourselves games starting in 44 minutes. All right, at 2 p.m., we're going to be giving away thousands of dollars. We're going to have raffles. We're going to have games. It's going to be a really great time. If you like money, join the Casper Crew VIP Discord at jasoncaspertrading.com. We pay you to stay at the jasoncaspertrading.com. All right. I want to take a quick look at Ethereum, guys. We're going to start with ETH on the 2-month as well. All right, ETH on the 2-month. Here's the deal. ETH on the 2-month, we still do have some upside potential on the 2-month. We definitely don't have a bearish divergence confirmed or confirming, not even close. We come to the 1-month time frame. This is where things start to look a little bit scary. We do have a potential bearish divergence here on ETH, but we still have months before that confirms. And here's something else about ETH. We do have a very bullish wave that confirmed back here in June, which in my opinion, as long as we're going to see ETH holding $3,000, this still has more potential upside here. We come to the weekly time frame, and you know, this is quite neutral right now. What we want to see for a push up on ETH is this yellow line to start to push up towards the 0 line, okay? Towards the 0 line. That's what we want to see. We come down to our 3-day on ETH. Woof, man. All right, the 3-day on ETH looking a little bit weak, but here's the one silver lining about ETH and a lot of these other altcoins, guys, which is this. We have formed very nice bottoms on market cipher B. This is a nice bullish divergence here on the 3-day time frame. You know, I mean, the 3-day time frame right now, we've got the money flow over time. As the price is getting lower, the money flow has been coming up. We have a nice bullish divergence here at the low. And so when you get a bullish divergence at a nice low back in April, that next major trigger wave you print is the big push. Now, we thought we were going to get that big push a few days ago. We're still getting a wave to the downside here, but if this wave confirms even down here, that's still giving us nice direction. And as long as we are holding the $3,000 POC, I think we can still make a case that we could see the next few months be bullish for ETH. All right, do not be surprised, guys, especially with all the fear in the market right now and the bearish sentiment. Do not be surprised when we start to see these altcoins rip to the upside. Why? Well, because when everyone's bearish and everyone's out, I've seen so many posts on Twitter. I don't know if I think they're fake. I think people just copy and paste them. People are like, I'm totally out of crypto. You know, everything's outperformed it. Gold's outperformed it. Real estate's outperformed it. Stocks outperformed it. I'm done. All right. The fact that that sentiment is floating around makes me think we could get a big old blasteroni and cheese to the upside, all right? On the 1 day for ETH. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Well, here's the thing I have to say. It's not looking the best, but just like yesterday, we do need to be aware of this, all right, on ETH. We have this low that we made here from the 11th of October, 2025. We still need to be aware of a liquidity grab of these lows here, potentially forming a bullish divergence on the market cipher B, something like this, something like that. That could be our ticket, our first sign on the daily time frame that would push its way up into the 3-day and eventually into the weekly. Coming down to the 4-hour on ETH. 4-hour on ETH is not looking the best here. I'd say it actually looks most probable right now that we do come down and try and tap into that $3,600 level for potentially getting a bounce, and we would see something like this. and then we could get a move back up towards the top of this area, and then we either flip this into support and pump, or we reject again and come down for much lower. But I'd say right now the ETH chart in these lower time frames is looking like down a little and then potentially up quite a bit, and then waiting to be seen. All right, down a little, up a bit, and then wait to be seen. You know, we zoom out here and we can still see the fact that, yeah, we're still forming a bull flag, and our technical target is still around a $7,000 ETH. All right, still around a $7,000 ETH. By the way, guys, if you want to trade Bitcoin and altcoins, I am trading on KCEX. No FUD over here on KCEX. Just really low fees. Link in the pinned comment and description. 0% limit order, 0.01% market order, 0% spot withdrawal fees. It's legitimately a good deal. I'm also trading on BLOFIN. Make sure to check out BLOFIN if you want to get your trades in. All right. Also, if you know how to trade but you ain't got no money, we also do partner with Klein Funding, a crypto prop firm that trades on Bybit. You can get an instant pro account without having to pass any challenge. You can trade right away that same day. You can get a $50,000 account for about $1,000. I've got a 15% discount in the description. If you do want to pass a challenge, I've got 25% discounts. You could pay about $500, even less than that, for a $200,000 trading account. You can customize your plans. How much profit do you want to get? Up to 100% profit you could get. Of course, that raises the price a little bit. Max drawdown you can change as well. You can customize these plans to make them suitable to your trading style, your trading needs, and there's some really good deals. All right, link is in the description. All right, now let's quickly take a look at USDT dominance again. All right, see if there's any developments on the day. USDT dominance. USDT, let's see. This is the daily time frame. We've had a little bit of development here. We got a little bit of a move down. Let's see locally what the USDT dominance is doing, what we can expect maybe in November, as we currently are forming this symmetrical triangle here. And yeah, so I'd say this, guys. You know, as we head into November and as things are very volatile, keep your eyes on this triangle, because what tends to happen with these triangles is we usually tend to get a fake out, right? So just be aware of something like this, all right, happening, where we get a bearish divergence here on USDT dominance, where everybody gets really scared and really bearish, but then we start to see USDT dominance reverse and come back down, potentially to hit the Fibonacci golden pocket right around under 4.5%, all right? This could line up with a bullish November, right? This is the daily time frame, by the way, guys. So, you know, this drawing is a little bit to scale. We're talking like the 10th of November, right? We get a little push up first week of November. We see a big crash. Everyone's prepared for the worst. And then we're seeing USDT dominance. Remember, USDT dominance, guys, is inversely correlated to the crypto prices, because when people are scared, they put their money into USDT, right? It's called tethering up. So when you see bearish signs on USDT dominance, that's bullish for Bitcoin. It means people are taking their money out of Tether and they're buying Bitcoin. So if we see Bitcoin get a big dump, the first few days of November, be watching USDT dominance to basically take the liquidity from this high of the symmetrical triangle and then get a retracement back down towards 4.5% at the Fibonacci golden pocket. All right, very interesting. Also, you know, be aware of this Fibonacci golden pocket anyway, because, you know, the thing is, if we start to see crypto pump and we start to see USDT dominance come down to this area, right, or even lower, be watching for now bullish divergences here on USDT dominance, similar to what we saw right here, you know, back in basically August of 2025, where essentially we've seen Bitcoin pretty much stall out as people have been putting money back into USDT. All right, just something to keep your eyes on. I know a lot of people use USDT dominance in order to trade Bitcoin. I do think it's a good metric to look at because it lets you see without a shadow of doubt what people are doing with their crypto. Are they putting it into Tether? If they are, that means overall it's not just crypto Twitter that's bearish, it's actual money that's bearish, right? It's actual bearish money. And, you know, I know some people who actually use this almost exclusively as their indicator to trade a Bitcoin. All right, let's take a look at altcoin dominance quickly. All right, take a look at altcoin dominance here. Again, altcoin dominance, guys, let's check on the daily time frame. We already did some higher term time frame analysis yesterday. But essentially, altcoin dominance here, we're making a series of lower highs, and we have this horizontal support here. This, technically speaking, guys, is a bearish pattern here. All right, this is a bearish pattern. We cannot fool ourselves about this fact, right? This is a bearish pattern. However, we are seeing money flow getting thicker, and one thing to keep in mind here is this, okay? Remember, I was just talking about how we can make a bullish case for the Ethereum chart. We could make a bullish case for the Ethereum chart. We could make a very bullish case for a lot of these altcoin charts, okay? And here we are. We are seeing the USDT, the altcoin dominance is basically flipping this area of previous resistance now into support. All right, and typically when we see areas flipped from resistance into support, historically speaking, it leads to a big push to the upside. This happened right at the end of last bull market cycle. All right, right at the end of last bull market cycle. All right, May 2021 was the top in general, right? In general, not specific, but in general for sure. And so the last few months of, Q4 of 2020 leading into Q1, basically Q1 of 2021, we saw altcoins absolutely rip. So we are seeing right now things being very flat, things being very, look at this little range we're in the summer, September, October, November of 2020, altcoin dominance, totally flat, totally wiki, a whole bunch of nonsense. Then we get the breakout, the back test, boom. Well, this looks kind of similar, right? We get a breakout, we get a weird kind of back test of this. We're holding support. That's all I'm going to say. We're holding support. This does keep me optimistic for potentially seeing a move up to, well, look at this. We have this little channel that we're trading here, and we could see maybe some of these targets hit. I don't know. It seems crazy now to think about a $2 trillion altcoin market. That seems a little crazy, but a $1.3, $1.4 trillion altcoin market cap is not that crazy to me. It's the 1-to-1 Fibonacci extension from the last cycle. And if Bitcoin's going to hold support, especially if Bitcoin's going to hold, let's say, $95,000, right? Bitcoin does get a little bit of a drop, let's say, early November, but then we bounce from the key support of just below 100K. Well, there's no reason why, given the bullishness of some of these altcoin charts, we couldn't see money flow back into some of these altcoins. And I think it's a conservative target, the 1-to-1 Fibonacci extension, $1.4 trillion. We're currently at $1 trillion. That's $400 million. That's not the craziest amount in crypto. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. But think of it this way, guys. We've seen, just in this one week on October 10th, we saw that the altcoin market cap, total 3 excluding Bitcoin and ETH, go from 770 million all the way up to about $1 trillion. So we've already seen like $300 million come in a day. It's not that crazy to think that we could see another 300-400 million come in over the course of the next few months. It's very, very possible. All right, and that does lead us to some of our altcoin charts that we've been looking at for a long time. They have taken very significant lows here. This is AVAX. We can take a look at Chainlink, having taken a very significant low, back testing bear market resistance, taking the liquidity from the summer of 2024, trading this very key sideways range. All right, we could even take a look at Ethereum. Once again, just back testing. And let's clear off all this noise on Ethereum here, right? And let's just look at the fact that Ethereum is back testing. Let's change this range here. Look at this, back testing this very key support resistance flip here. And also we could say that Ethereum is back testing, and it's not looking the best right now, to be honest with you. But one could make a case that Ethereum is also back testing this very important trend line going all the way back to 2021. Tap 1, tap 2, tap 3, fake out, consolidation, breakout back test. We are seeing just the market structure here in general looking nice, right? Looking nice. Want to take a look at XRP as well. XRP, you know, XRP is still holding important support right here. We have very important support at $2.40. It's the high volume node of the entire range going all the way back to November 2024, the last big breakout on XRP. This is our sideways range here. We're still above the majority of the volume here. After taking that wick on October 10th, we took the low. Very nice. And I mean, look at that, guys. I mean, this is on the week, we end up over 100% in 1 week. Isn't that crazy? From that wick low, we're up right now 97% even still. This is on Binance. I know it wasn't as intense on Coinbase. Let's check it out on Coinbase just so we can get a better idea. All right. So we can get a better idea here on Coinbase. I mean, even still, look at this. We basically come down to test this low right here. All right. This first low that we made back here in February 2025. We took the liquidity. We're back testing this key box here. You could make a bullish case, but in my opinion, it all depends on what Bitcoin does. And so that brings us back to what are we looking for on Bitcoin? First of all, we must hold $107,000 if we want to see these altcoins continue bullishly. If we're not going to hold $107,000, then we are going to be expecting Bitcoin to take the low and come down below $100,000, where we're looking at the key level of basically this value area low to the POC, confluence with the Fibonacci golden pocket retracement from April's low to the high. This is going to be the low to mid 90s. This is where we would expect Bitcoin to find major support. Now again, if November starts out bearish, this is where we're going to get gravitated down towards. All right, so we're going to get gravitated down towards. Now, man, oh man, look guys, it's the last day of the month. I'd say this monthly close is going to be very, very important to me. If this Bitcoin monthly close closes below 1082, definitely not a good look for Bitcoin, okay? I'd say then the probabilities are we come down to this box here. If this box doesn't hold, then I'd say we're in for much more downside, all right? If 92 to 97 doesn't hold, we're probably going to come back and test the previous bull market highs around this area, all right? Why do I say this? Where does this level come from? 65 to 75,000. Where does this level come from? Again, it's really just, you don't need any fancy technical analysis tools to see that. Let's put on Market Cipher again here, right? If this was, you know, this is everything upside down. This is Bitcoin upside down, right? We're starting to see bullish divergences here. We know we're in a macro downtrend. Again, this is Bitcoin upside down. So when I say downtrend, I really mean we're in a macro uptrend on Bitcoin. But what would you expect to happen, right? Well, you would expect that we would probably, since we're in a big downtrend, you expect more downside, but we maybe need to consolidate a little bit here, right? Before we get another move to the downside. And if we consolidate, what's likely to happen? Well, we probably come up, just grab the liquidity from this high, hit right into the support resistance flip, right? Multi-year support resistance flip, and then continue down lower, right? So overall, it's a bullish chart if we're like in this for the long term, right? Let's put it back right side up now. It's a bullish chart if we're in it for the long term. But in the short term, we have to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, if we're not going to hold 94-ish, we're most likely going to come back down to this level. Make sure to smash the likes. We got over 800 people in the house, and we only have about 200 likes. Make sure to smash them up. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Bitcoin 2 hour not looking good right now. Let's quickly check out the 2 hour on Bitcoin. Yeah, the money flow looks bad. The trigger wave looks bad. All right. Yeah, I could definitely see that on Bitcoin. We need a big candle. I'm confusing millions and billions. Sorry, guys. I got a little bit of Joe Biden in me, if you know what I mean.
Now, let me be clear. I've been dead since 2019, and every time you've seen me on TV, it's either been a deep fake or a body double.
I got a little bit of Joe Biden up in me, guys. My peepers are peeping, says lasers go pew pew. Shout out to Lucid a Take, so we mooning. Shout out to Ryan Steger 6088. Shout out to John Ploney. He says short every pump, still the move, I guess. It seems to be, man. Let's take a quick look at order flow here. You know, this whole move up here has basically been on a decrease of open interest. Big short squeeze right here, man. Big old short squeeze happening right here. And then we've basically seen lots of longs open up along this little way up, and now they're underwater. Big longs opening here. Big longs opening here. And now they're underwater. So we've even seen a few more longs open right now. So let's see if we start to form bearish CBD in this little ugly looking consolidation. I'd say it's not the best here. All right, but yeah, this bounce yesterday has been happening on a decrease of open interest, guys, which basically means trades have been closing out this whole way up, right? This is not actual money coming in, pushing the price up. People are very spooked heading into November. Spook City out in here, guys. Spook City out in here. Major shout out to R Pink. What do I think about Halloween? I mean, what do you mean, what do I think about it? I don't really acknowledge Halloween in any way, shape, or form at all. So that's what I think about it. Shout out to Bullish on Parade. Where's all the liquidity above the all-time high from people shorting? Come up for a grab? Yeah, you know, let's see. Let's zoom out on this order flow chart. This is aggregated open interest at CBD. So, you know, in general, this whole move down has been happening on a decrease of OI. But clearly, we are seeing the shorts opening up here. So yeah, man, I would love that, honestly, because then I would be vindicated for staying in my long all this time. And yeah, if it's gonna happen, I feel like it has to happen from here, right, Bullish on Parade? If that move up is gonna happen, it's gonna have to happen from right around here, this $107,000 level. I don't think that we can afford to lose our 786 fib and expect that we're going to continue up. But who knows? You know what? Because I said that now, guess what's going to happen? We're going to come down to the 886 fib. Because I just said I don't think we're going to lose the 786, we're going to come to the 886. We're going to just miss taking this low by like a few dollars. So everyone who's waiting for the swing failure pattern will miss out. We're going to bounce from 103. This is, everybody, hit your screen record button now. This is Jason Casper's Bitcoin prediction. We're going to come down to the exact price of $103,000, 688, and bounce, all right? And we're not going to take this low. And then we're going to sweep all the liquidity, make a new all-time high, go right to $130,000, and then the bear market begins, all right? If I had to make a prediction, that's going to be my prediction. In fact, let me set an alert here. Let me set an alert right here. FOMO. Let's see. The name of the alert is going to be FOMO long 100x leverage full portfolio. All right, and we're gonna say 103,668. Right, 103. There we go. That's my prediction, baby. That's my prediction. Am I long or short, man? I am both. I am both. I'm short from the short trade that we have with our Depends diapers. This short trade from October 6th, set up given in advance. I'm in that short still. All right. From right here, I'm also in the head short from Monday's New York Open VIP live stream. Then I'm long from the trade that was given in the Casper Room that I took on, I guess, the 22nd of October. I gave the setup on the 21st. I took it on the 22nd of October. Those are the only 3 Bitcoin positions I'm currently in right now. What's the weekend trap going to look like? DXKTA, I miss you. Can you unban me? Are you banned in my Discord? I don't know. What do I think about Ben Shapiro? I don't know. I don't know him at all. I don't watch him. I don't follow him. I don't know. Thoughts on MEXC? I already gave my thoughts on MEXC. Look, here's the thing, guys. KCEX is not associated with MEXC. It's a different exchange. Here's the thing. Trust no exchange. If you get shady vibes, take your money off. Like, seriously. What's going on with MEXC? There's just like a little bit of FUD going on with MEXC, basically, guys. So, yeah. I don't know what the FUD is, but I've heard MEXC FUD going all the way back to 2023. Remember when I first started trading on MEXC, every day people were like, I can't believe you traded on MEXC. Your account's going to get frozen. You're going to get rugged, this and that, this and that. I've never had an issue. No one in my community's had an issue with MEXC. If you don't trust an exchange, get off of it, honestly. Like, that's all you got to do. All right. That's all you got to do. eBoogie333 hates crypto. $119 retest in November, then bear market. Could be. Yeah, Cravy Waffles. KCEX, that's my exchange right now. Bitcoin Slut 1. Can I do TA on Bitcoin? Man, I think I'm all TA'd out on Bitcoin, bro. I've done everything I could do, but basically, if we're not going to hold this zone that I have pulled right here on the chart between the golden pocket and the 786, I expect us to take the low at 98 and then get a bounce from around the low to mid 90s. And then from that area, I either expect something like this to continue lower, or I expect that we go for one more high. If we fail to bounce at 94-ish thousand, then I would expect we eventually, during a bear market, make our way down to $65,000, $75,000 Bitcoin. But we don't have to worry about it at all until we kind of lose this local range here. All right, this local range support right here. And I'm still in the long trade because the idea is still valid that we could bounce from this area. All right. Did I get stopped that long yesterday, Felix H? Felix H, this is the long that I was in yesterday, man. It's the same exact long I was in yesterday from 107,777.9. If we go to the Jason Casper YouTube channel and check out the long from yesterday, let's take a look at it. Where were we? Yep, here we go. 107,779, baby. Was in the red the whole stream. Same trade, because look, the reason why I'm still in the same trade here, guys, is because the idea is still valid, right? The idea is still valid. This was my original idea. This is my original invalidation, all right? When I gave this setup in the Casper crew, JasonCasperTrading.com, my invalidation was there, so I'm not closing it until it loses my invalidation. And as soon as my invalidation is hit, guys, that's when we pump, all right? Jake got stopped out, bam, 250K. That's immediately gonna happen. That's how it works, okay? ETH coming down to 2,800, then we long. Yes, $2,800 ETH, that is a major, major support right there. Absolutely, Manuel 12255. Absolutely. Shout out to Jason Casper's Chicken. Moonwell or Velodrome? Well, Velodrome reminds me of adrenochrome, which makes me think of longevity. But Moonwell makes me think of mooning everybody out the back window of the car when you're driving down the highway, which is actually kind of bearish because if you get pulled over, you'll get a pretty big fine for that. So, yeah, I don't know. Hope that helps. Hope that helps with your decision. Should have closed half, Felix H. Well, hey, man, profit is profit, all right? If you're taking profit and you're making profit in these markets, you're doing good. Shout out to Prerit Sharma. God bless you. May the Lord bless you. Shout out to Mickey8751. Shout out to Bitcoin Slut. Not your keys, not your coins. I got effed in the ass that way when Voyager went down. Yeah. Yeah, look, honestly, it is what it is. You can't trust anything. And new type trader, look, you can't trust DEXs either. You can't even trust DEXs. All right, unless you really know, unless that DEX is really transparent. All right, there are a lot of DEXs out there right now that are basically just scams too. All right. So, look, in general, and I am associated with a DEX myself, ANTARCTIC Exchange, which is very transparent, extremely transparent. But it's a very new exchange. The mobile app isn't quite ready yet. So until it's ready, I'm still on these sexes. And I do have to say, I really do enjoy these centralized exchanges like KCEX. I've never had a problem with it. And again, you gotta abide by don't put all your trust in this stuff, you know. I wasn't Moonvember. I deserve it, please. Oh, you want Moonvember? You deserve Moonvember. Let's hope we get a little bit of new Moonvember. In 22 to 23, you couldn't even trust stables. Yeah, remember the USDT, the USDC DPEG? Yeah, you couldn't even trust USDC, guys. This is crypto, man. Again, you know, this is the Wild West, and that's how we like it. All right. You know, if this was traditional finance, I'd be in a suit and tie. All right. All right. I wouldn't be able to dress like this if this was traditional finance. All right. This is crypto. All right. Look at my teeth. You're not gonna see anybody in TradFi with teeth like this. You know. All right. We don't go to the dentist out here. We don't brush. We don't floss. We don't use soap in the shower. All right. We don't use soap in the shower. Having trouble trusting Coinbase. I personally trust Coinbase. I trust Coinbase. I do trust Coinbase. You know, I trust Coinbase. I trust Bybit. I trust Coinbase. I kind of trust BLOFIN. I trust BLOFIN quite a bit. I trust KCEX quite a bit. I haven't sniffed any strange stuff yet. How full is the pee bottle? Not that full. Not that full. Pee bottle, guys, you're not a real trader unless you got a pee jug by the desk, all right? Shout out to Whales Team Crypto. Do I remember when I said Filecoin could hit all-time highs? Was I serious? Yeah, I was serious, man. I was serious. Filecoin, I mean, look, all these charts look amazing, so let's check it out. Let's check it out here. Oh my goodness, horrible. Wow, oh my goodness, that is crazy. Yeah, I was serious, man. I was absolutely serious about that. Here's why. Here's why. The chart itself looks extremely bullish. That's why. We had money flow coming up as we were forming bearish divergences. We had momentum coming up on the weekly time frame, on the monthly time frame, on the 4-day time frame. Yeah, I was super serious about that. And I hold Filecoin as well. I didn't even know it dumped like that. I don't really check my altcoin portfolios. But yeah, I was real serious about that. It looks pretty good. But looks like a major rug. Can you believe that? This is Binance. Let's see what happened on other exchanges. Let's go to OKX. Oof, same. Man, what a crazy rug. Oh my goodness. 76% in a day. That is crazy. Filecoin down. Yeah, basically 100%. Yeah, this thing went to zero. It literally went to zero. Can you believe that? Yeah, I was serious about being bullish on Filecoin. Absolutely, I was. And I mean, it looked really bullish. What else can I say, guys? What else can I say besides the chart looks super bullish? We're at major support, bear market support. You know, again, nothing's guaranteed in trading, but these are the kind of charts that look bullish. you know? So what can I say? That's why I've always been such a huge proponent of risk management. Because look, if you have a diversified altcoin portfolio, if one of them goes to zero, you should be okay with your other altcoins. But look, in general, I have been wrong this entire time about altcoins because I've been expecting big moves on altcoins December 2023. You guys literally watched me put tens of thousands of dollars into altcoins live. And I was expecting big moves. I was expecting big all-time highs. Didn't happen, all right? Then I was holding out for Q4 of 2024 and Q1 of 2025. Here we are. It's down to the wire. Let's see what happens. You know, let's see what happens. I mean, I'm missing out a big time on a lot of this stuff, man. Like, I was expecting to make big money on my altcoins. I didn't, you know. But yeah, I was super serious. When are we gonna do a freestyle? I don't know. When should we do a freestyle? Should we do a freestyle now? If we get 500 likes, we'll do a freestyle. All right, how about that? 500 likes and we'll do a freestyle. How about that? How about that? If we get 500 likes, within the next like 2 minutes, we'll do a freestyle. Rome's says $230,000 Bitcoin by March. Okay. That would be wild, bro. That would be absolutely wild. Let's see, we're pumping the likes. We only need 200 more. 150 more. Do I follow Beth L music? No, I don't. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Sorry. Felix H F FH. Not at all. Style isn't free. Yeah, the style that I rock right now wasn't free. Alright. Is my ETH tray still open? Nah, I closed that thing out, man. I closed it out in a slight loss. You know? I thought we were going straight up, so we stopped going straight up. I closed it out. No need to be on leverage. Any reason I choose glasses as contact lenses? Yeah, it's because I have perfect vision, but these are blue blocking glasses. All right, because blue light can wreck you. All right, blue light will wreck you, man. Blue light will wreck you, honestly. So I'm a big fan of the blue blocking glasses. It's easy to get lazy with that, and then all of a sudden, one day you realize, man, this blue light is really not good for me. And you feel like crap, you know? So let's see, how many likes do we have to do a freestyle? We have, how many likes do we have right now? It's not gonna tell me here. It's not gonna tell me. Oh yeah, 369. Okay, yeah, we need 500. You know. Yeah, laptop screens are blue light. Yep, red lights. I'm a big fan of red lights. You know. I'm a big fan of red lights. Why am I always on the treadmill? Well, because I like to kind of basically have abs that aren't like the best abs in the world, but still like more defined and jacked than like 97% of people. And I also love to eat like 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day, right? And so historically, it was really hard to maintain abs unless I like was starving myself, you know? And especially when I first started doing YouTube, I got pretty chub, right? Got pretty chub. I was sitting down a lot, and I thought to myself, you know what? This isn't good for my health. I'm getting lower back pain. I'm getting soft. So I got a bike, an under desk bike, right? And then I said, you know what? This bike isn't good for my back because I'm sitting down all day. Walking is so good for you. We were meant to walk all day. You know what? I'm gonna get a treadmill, and if I'm gonna be on a screen, I'm gonna be slow walking, or maybe fast walking. And ever since I did that, my whole life changed. I have lots of energy. I sleep great, you know, for the most part. And it's effortless to maintain a lean, muscular physique without trying. Like, that's the thing, without trying. Like, no one was fat back in the day because there were no cars, there were no elevators, there were no escalators, there were no desk jobs, there were no computers. People worked, and when they worked, they moved, right? No one was fat, all right? Nowadays, everyone's fat. Why? Because you drive to work and you sit there all day, and then you eat a whole bunch of crap, and you don't need that energy, right? So it's the best life hack in the world when it comes to health, in my opinion, is a walking desk. If you can get 20,000 steps a day effortlessly by doing what you had to do anyway, sitting on the computer, wouldn't you want to do that? Wouldn't you want to do that? I don't get why you wouldn't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? My man Frank Collin, good luck. May the Lord bless you with your caloric deficit, bro. That sounds like absolutely horrible, you know? Sounds horrible. You know what I like to do to get lean? I just like to walk more. Keep the calories the same. Keep the nutrients high. Honestly, calorie deficits, man, you're setting yourself up for some failure. I'm gonna be real. All right, this is some real bro science, okay? Some real bro science right here. Caloric deficits are gonna slow your metabolism. You're gonna feel like crap. You're not gonna have energy. And then, so what? Maybe you get some abs, all right? Maybe you get some abs, right? What I like to do is I like to push those calories up, baby. I like to eat those high nutrient dense foods. You know, full fat, dairy, raw, fat filled red meat, lots of fruits and roots. All that kind of good stuff. Push up those calories, man. You'll have more energy. When you have more energy, you can lift heavier weights, which will increase your muscle mass, which will thereby increase your metabolism. When you have more energy, you can get a walking desk and just effortlessly walk while you're pouring the nutrients into your body. It's healthy for you. You're going to feel good. You're not going to feel like crap. And it will increase your metabolism, all right? If you burn hot, you can eat more and not feel like crap. 1,000 calorie deficit, man. Setting yourself up to feel like crap, and then you're gonna rebound one night, late at night. You're gonna go into the kitchen. Your wife got some dang Oreos for the kids. You're gonna eat all that whole Oreos yourself, and guess what? It's gonna go right to your abs. That hard work, that six-pack you worked so hard for, you feel like crap. You can't sleep. You can't get a boner because you have no energy. Your testosterone's in the toilet bowl because you're not eating any nutrients. But at least you have a six-pack, right? Those Oreos gonna erase your six-pack. That water weight, that water bloat is gonna be there now for a week and a half. You're never gonna get rid of it, man. Then it's the cycle. Binge, restrict. Binge, restrict. Binge, restrict. Then you're gonna have micronutrient deficiencies. You're gonna be deficient in micronutrients. Your body's not gonna be able to recover. It's not good to starve yourself, man. If you're trying to get lean and strong, you know what you gotta do? Fuel the body properly. Fuel it properly. Give it the good fuel. Your body knows what to do if you fuel it and use it properly. All right? Shout out to J-Boy Barrett. All right, guys, we got Casper Crew games in 3 minutes. So on that note, we're gonna head out. God bless y'all in Jesus' name. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Peace.